Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1055 of One Piece. This, honestly, is just such a great chapter. We are really going forward with the lore. I really liked everything Oda has set up. We got some big reveals. So anyway, without much further ado, let's get into the review. If this is your first time on this channel or you've been here before but haven't done so already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Do me a solid. I would really. All right, everyone. Chapter 1055 of One Piece New Age. Now, before I get into the review, if you're familiar with this channel, I really like to, talk for a while. However, I am dead tired. I am exhausted. I usually recordings on Thursday when the chapter comes out early, and honestly, I've just been so busy and overwhelmed, I completely forgot. And so, like, I had to read the chapter about like 10 minutes ago, formulate what I wanted to talk about. So this is going to be on the shorter side. It's not going to be as in depth. I apologize, but I really wanted to make sure I was consistent, got this video out today with ample time to edit it and upload it. Please bear with me. I apologize. Anyway, like I said, chapter 1055 of One Piece, we get this new this cool little sequence of panels with Uta from the movie, just more promotional stuff. Honestly, I couldn't give a damn. I don't care. If I knew for certain this movie would have canon that was going to shit for, I would care more often, but I really don't. I'll check out Red when I check out Red, how it's going. I want to do a video about like the type of One Piece I would like to see. I think so stay tuned for that. And like I said, hold me to that, because like I hate making all these promises and following, but like that is a video that I do want to touch on. So we start off where we left off last time, and that's with the battle of the Scabbards versus Green Bull, right? And something that I was really hoping that they were going to utilize was fire. And so we have Raizo use his ninja, aka his scroll fruit, and release a torrent of flames upon Green. And I was like, yes, that's what I was waiting for, because honestly, natural weakness of wood, force of that nature, plants is going to be fire. However, obviously, this dude is an admiral. Obviously, it's such a glaring weakness. I thought it was actually kind of hilarious. As I was reading the chapter, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Use the weakness of fire. And then immediately, as if like Oda like heard me say that, he has Green Bull immediately go like, come on, I'm an admiral. You don't think I would be able to defend against such an obvious weakness? I was like, oh damn. All right, you got me. Honestly, I still do think that, like, if you were to fight someone with fire or heat, fire, heat, magma, double fruit, something like that, it would be way more effective than just standard fire that Raizo saved up, especially if it had hockey imbued in it. But it was kind of funny and cool to see. So Yamato was wondering the entire time, like, hey, why won't you let me fight? I live in Wano. This is my country. I want to defend you. And like two things happen that up, and I'm very happy that he brings up. And he essentially says, one, the first fact is like, guys aren't going to like all the time, like Luffy, the whole crew, blah blah blah. You guys aren't going to be here. A big problem with Wano, like what started all of this, was not being able to defend Wano from. And if I eventually want to open up Wano's borders, if I eventually want Wano to be an open land, I am going to have to handle it myself. And what better time than now to like see how I stack up against Admiral. And honestly, like, win or lose, like, what's the point? Because even if I were to win today, we're gonna lose tomorrow, because you guys can't stay here forever. I can't force you guys to live on Wano. Like, that's just something I can't do. And this is something I like was thinking about back when I was wondering if Yamato was gonna. I was like, is she going to feel obligated not to repeat the mistake Odin made, which was it truly a mistake to follow his heart and follow his dreams by going and adventuring with Whitebeard and then Roger? Because like it kind of would have been super selfless or selfish of Wano to have expected Odin to stay and defend them the entire time. Had he done it, would Kaido have taken over? Probably not. But no, it's just a really hard thing to reconcile, right? So that was actually the second thing I was going to bring up, the fact that he says that he essentially confirms that like Yamato is going to with the Straw Hats. I don't think there's any cause for speculation anymore. I think it's official. He said it. Now Momo's saying it. Like obviously we need the official like Luffy okay to say it, but like yeah, it definitely seems like this is what's happening. Also, something I noticed is Denjiro gave a little smile after Momo said that, so I think he just has a lot of respect for his little show. That was really cool. Moving on, we have Robin with Sukiyaki, aka Tenguyama, and it looks like Law has tagged along. That's my homie, so I was very happy to see him there. It's completely within his character for him to be snooping around, trying to also find the poneglyphs, because not only is he also a pirate, he's also looking for One Piece, not necessarily to become the pirate king, but to find the answers to the will of D. And obviously, chasing the One Piece is going to get him a step closer than that, because obviously it's going to get him to the truth of the world, and obviously the will of D is going to be involved in that in some way, shape. So was really happy to see my boy Law here. And so there's a secret entranceway or tunnel that leads to a basement. They're walking down, and Law asks, "How deep is this?" And instead of giving like the metrics we were expecting, I would say it's a few hundred years deep. To which Robin and Law have like a very tangible talking about look. There seems to be some light as they're coming down, and they're like, "Where's that dim light coming from?" And he's like, "Oh, there's a glass block there, and like a little crawl space. Go and look. Go ahead. We should be below sea level by now." And I was like, "Below sea level?" And so Robin crawls, and there's a hilarious moment where Law just uses shambles to get to that spot. He's like, "No fair," and that honestly cracked me up. I thought that was hilarious. And they look out and they see this entirely underwater Wano, and I was so happy to see this. I really wish I did a better job of keeping like track records of things I've said, whatnot. Let's ignore that. I have the most ghetto setup in terms of like it. But anyway, I was really ecstatic because one thing I said was, this seems like it could easily be a subversion of Skypiea, right? And the whole time, Wano was called the land of gold, right? And we never figured that out. We still haven't figured it out. But same thing was going on with Jaya, but like where was all the gold? And we found out that volcanoes shot the island up into the sky and created a sky island. You know that there are active volcanoes around Wano. So I said in one of my reviews, I wouldn't be surprised if it was another Skypiea situation where part of Wano got blasted up into a sky island. However, I was a little bit like not off by that, but skeptical of it because it's been done before one, so that's like a demerit in and of itself. And I forgot what so it's been done before, and honestly that was the only thing. I think I had something else, but I totally forgot just now. But I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe when it comes to Wano, the opposite would be true, where instead of being above them, the sea is below them. So it was kind of cool to see that like that actually was the case. We're told that several hundred years ago, it appears that Wano was much larger than it was now and located much lower, but randomly, we don't know now, but we're probably going to be told later, these walls were erected that traps rain and rainwater that fell. So eventually, just over hundreds of years, elevated the new Wano that we know today. However, the remains of the ancient Wano are still there. And not only do we find out about that, but we also find out that apparently the location of Pluton is here as well. And the reason Kaido was so adamant about being on Wano was because he knew Pluton was here, and that was thanks to Jack, a fishman that was able to actually. He was probably swimming around one day because he's a fishman, and probably saw the remnants of the the remnants of, old Wano. But for some reason, either Sukiyaki or, I'm assuming Jack and Kaido ever really got to actually see it with their own eyes or find out what it is or how to activate it. So I'm very curious about that. So like, obviously the next line of questioning is, why the hell would Odin want to, open up Wano's borders if it meant releasing an ancient weapon? And I think this is just gonna go back to what Tom said, where it's the matter, what Tom said to Frankie, where it's not a matter of like it being a weapon. I think it's just a tool. Like many things in life, things are tools. Like something my own uncle told me growing up, teach me responsibility when it came to driving is, he goes, young man, you are operating a whatever ton vehicle, of no, a whatever ton weapon. This is a weapon. I was like, no, no. I was like, no, Uncle Mark, it's a car. He's like, yes, it's a car, but it is also a weapon. You can do like irreversible damage with this, and under tangibly understand that. So basically, similar to what Tom said, like tools are tools depending on how you use them. I can use a hammer to hammer a nail, and I can also use a hammer to bash someone in the skull. Is the hammer a tool or a weapon? Well, in the hands of the wielder, it could be whatever I want it to be. And so I think that we're going to find that out with, these weapons. Know what Poseidon is. Control the Sea Kings. Now, you can go ahead and stick the Sea Kings on your enemies and use them as a tool of war, or maybe you could use it to help, carry people. I really do think that they're going to not only, pull the arc and bring the fish to the surface. I still think it's kind of weird that they need to do that for the fishmen. They can swim, so maybe it's not for the fishermen, but I do think that there's a grander scale for the ancient weapons. I also think that the ancient weapons aren't actually weapons. Like they weren't created as weapons, they were never intended to be weapons, but either the world government turn them into weapons or use propaganda to call them weapons in order to justify stopping people from getting them from obtaining them. So I thought that was also something else that it brings to the forefront, the fact that what was Zunisha going to do? Because Zunisha apparently had the ability to free Wano, which according to everything we know means getting rid of these barriers, getting rid of these walls. So was he the walls, break the walls? And if that was the case, why couldn't someone like Luffy do it? Also, speaking of the walls, where did they come from? Was it the previous user of the or the previous awakened user of the Hito no Mi model Nika? I really love that theory about the Long Ring Long Land, where maybe Nika went and like the length of the animals because of freedom, because they love freedom. And so maybe one of Luffy's abilities is going to be able to like rise and lower certain things. Like maybe he'll be able to lower the red line and like all that stuff. So these are all just speculations, but I honestly think like this is something that is totally totally plausible. Anyway, we return back to the fight with the Scabbards, Momo, Yamato, versus Green Bull, right? And he gives this whole speech about how they can't hope to stand against a force of nature, and the fact that if Kaido was still around, if Kaido was still here, he would never even be here, which I thought was kind of weird, because like to me that sounds more like he was being a bitch, because he gave this whole spiel about how like Wano isn't protected by the world government, and how it's not even state, but then he goes and turns around and says that he essentially respects he said he respects hierarchies last chapter, but I also think on top of respecting hierarchies, he respects strength, right? So he acknowledges that the celestial dragons are the pinnacle of strength and power, even though I'm wondering, like, they're not strong, but I guess I think he respects both hierarchical strength, imposed strength, and actually like physical, like unsurmountable strength. And so like those are the two things that he respects, because he really says if Kaido was here, I wouldn't be here. So it's not just about justice for him, it's not just about carrying out Akainu's will, it's respecting basically the pecking order, the what's the like respecting apex predators, respecting know, what are humans? What do we call ourselves? We call ourselves the I'm spending way too much time on this. I apologize. Oh, top of the food chain. Respects the top of the food chain, and he acknowledges that Kaido is top of the food chain. And I do kind of like how it parallels with, Kaido's view of the world that, might equal right, and those with the power to like impose their will have, the birthright to. So anyway, they're still fighting, and Momonosuke just is able to just, similar to how he was able to like pull the flame clouds out his ass, he was able to somehow, some way manage to actually fire a Kaido level Oro Blast, Oro Breath, whatever you want to call it. So that was honestly impressive to me. So it just seems like it's a combination of having the confidence and just getting used to his devil fruit. I was wondering like if we were going to see anything of this, or like why it was called a failure. Maybe it's a failure because it's just harder to use, or it takes, kind of like maybe we can go like to Avatar: The Last Airbender, where Zuko originally learned how to firebend using hate. Once he lost that hate in his heart, his firebending waned, so he had to find a new fuel source. And so maybe it's kind of something like that, where the which Momo used Boro Blast and like dragon abilities are slightly different from how they're typically. So I thought that was awesome, and he like burns a hole in Green Bull the first time, right? He tried definitely effective, but Green Bull is able to recover. I don't think it hurts him that much, but it is damaging. It's not something that he's taking head on. Then like clearly Momo doesn't have the control, so he's still like just burning everything in his wake. Something that like was very blink if you miss it. I've heard people say that like he goes in the tree and like surrounds himself with plants. I thought it was just as he was turning into a tree, like just like other Logias, like they become their ability. So I didn't think he was like merging with a tree or anything like that. I thought he was just himself. But you do see that like after that Blast completely, you do see like the old wooden shell, and then a new version of him growing. So I'm really interested in the extent of that power. Is it like he becomes a seedling within like the trees, then he can kind of move his like real self around, or like that was a version of him, but because he's the forest fruit, and gently it's a fruit of life. I think it's gonna relate to maybe Yggdrasil still, and like the fact that devil fruits are probably grown on trees. I think there's going to be some correlation there, and like rebirth. Maybe he can actually not just move his body around, or like escaping real quick into the ground and regrowing himself. Maybe he can like as a form of like reincarnation. We do know that there are evidence which fruits have the ability to bring you back from the dead. You have Brooks fruit, for example. So maybe maybe this is an extension of that. We know that there are to Del fruits and Del fruits that do similar things, and the better your Del fruit, the more of those like the more powers you have from lesser Del fruits all rolled up into one. So that was really, but yeah, Green Bull recovers, and it looks like he's really just about to like finish them off completely, when there is suddenly a massive display of Conqueror's Hockey, and it turns out that Shanks is still there. He's talking to Green Bull. He's like, I'm not going to call you guys cowardly, anything like that, or underhanded, but don't you think it's kind of messed up, to, attack, weaken people that just finished the battle, right? And I thought that was kind of interesting, because I'm like, bro, you're a pirate, and Luffy says it all the time. There's no, like, right or wrong or fairness in a pirate fight. Now you're going to be like, but, like, Green Bull's not a pirate. But we've seen that, the Marines are corrupt. Some of them don't believe in their, like, don't drink their own Kool-Aid, don't believe in their own shit. And I think that this was just another situation where, like, he has justifications, he has ramifications, you know what I mean? Like, he's fighting in the name of justice, but it's very hypocritical depending on, like, what's going on, right? Who he has to fight, like, whether the people he's fighting are under the world government and stuff like that. And so Shanks is kind of, chastising him, admonishing him for his behavior right now. And something I was really confused about was, is Shanks actually talking to him? Like, is Green Bull actually talking to him? Or is this one of those things where Shanks is talking Like he knows Greenbow can't hear him, but like he's just angry and just talking to nothing. But, like Greenbow just gets the point from the just from the the Conqueror's Hockey Flash, right? And also think it's kind of crazy that just from the Conqueror's Hockey that he would know it's Shanks. But another thing that's very like blink if you miss it is the fact that you see Griffin and like what appears to be maybe wind coming out of it. Now, at first, when I read it, I didn't notice this until I read the comments and someone pointed it out. At first, I thought there was just like there was a wind on top of the panel and a wind under the panel that's going into like I thought Griffin was sheep, right? I thought it was just kind of matching up with the drawing. But then once someone picked it out, I was like, wait, no, it actually looks like there is wind protruding from that. So that just honestly changes so much and reveals so much. First of all, maybe he's the wind to carry his voice so that Greenbow can actually hear him and that he can actually hear Greenbow, and it would make more sense that Greenbow knew specifically that this was actually Shanks, besides the obvious display of hockey, right? Also, on top of that, it makes sense that this is why Shanks is able to travel so quickly to places. A lot of people thought, there's these whole Viking thing with the knots of wind and stuff, right? We saw it in like Viking lore, but we also saw it on the Weatheria, right? Weatheria, where they had the knots of wind. So maybe Griffin is a sword that ate the Kaze no Mi. I know a lot of people thought that was dragon, but maybe dragon has the storm fruit. Maybe he has some kind of peripheral fruit. Or maybe it was actually Shanks that was the one that saved Luffy, and that the like lightning that came that was actually Conqueror's Hockey Lightning. I don't know. I'm just out here speculating, but it does look like he is like protruding like air currents from Griffin, and that would just explain so much in terms of how Shanks is able to get around so quickly, and like how certain feats phenomena have occurred around Shanks. Now, a lot of people are debating in the comment section about whether Shanks is this powerful to scare off admirals. This is like the second time he scared off an admiral. Third time he scared off someone like major. The other one being Kaido when Paramount War stop him and defer him. Now, a lot of people are arguing was Green Bull running over, because Green Bull immediately is like, hey, I don't want no beef. I'm out of here. I thought it was hilarious. There's a hilarious gif I stole from the comment section that I think amply, just portrays what happened in this situation. But I do agree with the fact that like we know that Shanks is strong. We know that Shanks is strong, but I do think that it's a matter of being scared of the Red Hair Pirates crew themselves. Because he says it's the Red Hair. He doesn't just say Shanks. He said it's the Red Hair Pirates. He says I don't want to fight you guys, or you guys are here or something like that. So I think he acknowledges that like definitely cannot take the crew on in and of itself, right? Especially when you have Ben Beckman, someone that also kind of scared off another admiral. Once again, though, that was Kizaru, and we know Kizaru to be kind of a. So I do think that Kizaru did see Ben Beckman as a threat, but as far as being a big enough threat to scare him away, you're gonna have to leave that to your own head. But we do know that the Red Hair Pirates are one of the like smaller pirate crews, and the reason that they're that they're such a threat and that they're Yonko level, besides Shanks, obviously, the fact that the executives themselves are probably all really strong. Like I would imagine that all the executives are maybe like first command level or something like that. That's how it kind of equals out in terms of like having the. So that was really cool to see. I'm much more curious about Shanks, his influence on the world, his power scaling, the ability of Griffin, and stuff like that, and just his lore in the world. Also, I love how angry he gets about like, are you actually that scared of the new age? And then Luffy, we see Momo, we see Hiyori, and then there's a panel, and I would really appreciate anyone watching this to tell me what you think that panel is. It kind of looks like some stab. I'm wondering maybe it could be Blackbeard. It could be something like, I don't know. There's something weird going on. I could not put it together. But yeah, man, Oda's on a roll. I'm so glad he took that break, and I just feel like every chapter from now on is just more and more exposition and dumps and dumps and dumps. And anyway, finish off the chapter, and it turns out that the entire time, pretty much the executives, the main fighters of the Straw Hat Pirates, have been watching this fight go on the entire time. Luffy's still chilling, still eating, just watching, like, look at Momo go, just proud of his boy. And this is completely in character for two reasons. First of all, like I said in my other review, there is no way in hell that they are not noticing this fight take place. It's probably loud as hell, and there is not Conqueror's Haki, but like Haki being used. Yeah, there was Conqueror's Haki because Yamato used Haki. So I was like, Sanji at bare minimum, because not only is a female in danger, even though yes, she's not considered female, I'm still lost on that. But like someone he probably considers still be a female is in danger. Also, he's the most observation Haki sensitive, so there's no way he didn't see it. Jinbei, he's mature, he's been in this for a while, and just Luffy, even though people try to treat him like an idiot, he's not a real idiot. So I do love the fact that they are aware of this. They're not just oblivious. Like, that would actually piss me off if they were completely oblivious to this, which they weren't. So that was actually dope. And I also like the fact that, like, we know for a fact just the way they were lined up, waiting and watching, they wanted to give Momo and the Scabbards a chance, and they would definitely, without question, have jumped in to help if things went south. I have no doubt or qualms or anything in my mind that they jumped in to help at all. Like, we just know Luffy did this with Kobe. He's the kind of dude that, like, not gonna step. It's like when you're a kid and you need help with your homework, right? He's not the kind of person that's gonna come in and just give you the answers to your homework. He wants to see you struggle. He wants to see you try. And then once you've done like everything you can do, he's gonna come and be like, here's where you messed up. Here's where you or like, all right, this is how you do it. But you have to put in some effort. And I've always loved that about Luffy's character. And that clearly was like what was happening there. Also, something else I like is that he recognizes, I'm positive that he recognizes that was shit. Like, he makes it really vague, like it reminded me of someone, but I do think he is very aware that that's Shanks here, and that like this is Shanks' way of also kind of indicating to him, hey kid, we're on the same level now. Meet me at me. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna leave the review here for now. I know I said this wasn't going to be long, but I kind of just started talking and got into the swing and flow of things, and I couldn't stop. I love One Piece that much. So, yeah, but I do have to end it here. Great chapter. I love it. Can't wait to see what happens next. Let me know your thoughts on the chapter. Let me know if there's anything I missed. Want to expound on anything I talked about. Leave a comment, please. Like, I love talking about this. Also, please, once again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Anyway, this has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OG. Have a great weekend, guys.